Hello, today I'm going to be making an update video on things that are going on here at the project. So quite excited, this is a great time of year for us gardeners. We're about to roar because spring is coming. We're getting excited now and we're planning for things that we want to do this growing season. So doesn't that sound amazing? So what I'm going to do is take the camera phone around and you can see a few things that are going on here. Doesn't that sound cool? Now, looking over here, you can see the Dixie Red Peach Tree. This is doing very, very well. It's thrived in this polytunnel. Gives me a great crop year after year, and the tree's growing and it's strong as well. So there we go. Now, let me show you the buds. So the buds are starting to swell now. You can see there. And here, you can see this peach. Sorry, this is a Nectarine variety Lord Napier, and you can see once again the same, the buds are starting to swell. And this is also a peach tree. This is variety Peregrine, and you can see the same is true here. Now, peaches and nectarines are one of the earlier fruits to flower, and this can be a problem because they flower early and frost damage can occur, you know, if the tree is growing outside. So this is one of the advantages of growing a peach or nectarine here in a polytunnel, as well as hopefully the avoidance of peach leaf curl. I've done a lot of videos on that, so I'm not going to be covering that today. But also, you know, earlier in the year the weather might not be so good, and if the tree's outside, the blossom can get blown off. Of course, that's true, you know, for all fruit trees as well, but you know, growing peaches and nectarines in a polytunnel can be a great thing to do. So they're looking very, very good, and I'm happy. Now, this is the blood orange tree, which is carrying a crop. They are blood oranges, you can see. They are small blood oranges, but they are, you know, what they are. So eventually, you know, this tree should be able to hold, you know, a full-size blood orange. Be lovely if it did. So that's doing well. Now, this has been outside here in this polytunnel all winter. Okay, and I protect it underneath obviously it's in the polytunnel, but I protect it with a cover for a miniature polytunnel greenhouse cold frame. I put that over the top, and also a net curtain when it's, you know, risk of frost, in order to protect it further. So there we go. And it's misshaped it a bit, the cover, but this should bounce back and recover in the summer. You can see some blossoms there all ready to come out as well. So yeah, there you go, down there. So this is doing very, very well, and I'm happy for it. So here I've got a pomegranate. This is variety Provence, which is said to be hardy down to about -10 degrees C. And my understanding is this is a French variety. Now, it'd be really nice if this does produce one day. Of course, pomegranates require long and warm growing seasons in order to produce and to ripen. But excusez-moi, I'm hoping that you know, one day this will fruit, and that would be lovely. Now, here I have got a Persimmon, otherwise known as Sharon fruit, variety Fuyu, and over here a Persimmon as well, otherwise known as Sharon fruit, and the variety here is Rojo Brilliante. So very, very happy with how, you know, they're coming on, and it'd be lovely, you know, one day, it'd be lovely to get massive crops from everything. But, you know, something like pomegranates, persimmons, you can grow them here in the UK, but they do have their challenges. But in terms of hardier exotics, they may be some ones to go for, because they are cold tolerant. These varieties are anyway. But of course, you know, the microclimates are particularly important growing things like this. Now, the tea plant is looking really, really lovely. Very, very happy with how that's coming on. The yuzu, you know, still about, bit of a curling leaves here, but, you know, it's still rocking and rolling. Geraniums that I grew from seed, not the last September or October, the one before, so 2018, they're still doing well. Once again, I'm covering them up with a net curtain when the frost, you know, frost comes. But you can see this one here, the leaves fell off, but it's putting up new growth down here, which is what happens with geraniums. So when grown, you know, outside in a climate such as the UK, if you can get them, you know, through, so the frost, they don't succumb to frost or whatever. So they should be good crops, good flowers rather, later in the year. So over here now I've got some spinach and some Oh, look at that. I think that's Komatsuna. Spinach, Komatsuna, and some chard as well. A bit of kale there. This is really cool. This is a great thing to grow. Lamb's lettuce. You know, this is totally cold hardy, by the way. And next year, or this year now, it's got a really lovely earthy taste. Really a delicious thing to grow. Totally cold hardy. And slugs and snails don't seem to like it, so very much a recommendation of mine, that is. So over here in the winter garden, now growth has slowed right down. You know, it's picked up a little bit of late, but of course the nights are drawing out now. But you've got to think, you know, low light levels and cold as well is not exactly conducive to plant growth. But down here, this is land cress. Now, land cress is so tasty. It's borderline fiery, okay, to eat, but it's a real nice flavour in sandwiches and stuff like that. So land cress, this is totally hardy, okay, and it's very, very peppery and spicy. It's got a real fire to it, and I'm not much of a chef, unfortunately, but I think about that in a stir fry or something like that. I can recommend to people to grow land cress over the winter period if they want a nice fiery hardy crop that you know, slugs and snails don't seem to like. So I'm quite happy, you know, with that indeed. Now over here I've got the onions and the garlic. You can see how well that's coming on. So that should be cropping, you know, maybe like June, July time. Now I don't know how many of you saw the video, but I put some bulbs in. And I liked seeing bulbs growing up in lawns. I don't know why, it's just a thing I like, because it's like beautifully natural, if you know what I mean. So some bulbs coming up there, and some bulbs coming there. They're very, very nice, and there's some here as well. There are some bulbs here, but I think, I don't remember putting these ones in. So the Concord pear tree, you can see the buds are starting to swell here, lovely, and this tree, you know, produces great crops year after year. I've explained before that you know, I call it the tree that never grows, which is perfect for the situation where it is, because I can't allow it to get much bigger. So very happy there. Lakemont seedless, grown from a cutting. This is looking really, really, you know, nice and trained, and this grapes, in my experience, are one of the latest to leaf out. And I think a lot of this is because, you know, grapes are also one of the sort of later fruits to ripen, particularly, you know, certain varieties, because they, you know, to get the sugar content higher, they need longer exposure to the sun. But, you know, this, all being well, this should leaf out beautifully. You can see a bud there, look, just try and get it into focus. There you go. Just about see that, I think, can't you? There you go. So it should be really, really nice, and you can take cuttings now from grapevines if you wish. So I've got my little cutting section. Down here you can see these grapevine cuttings that I took. I took quite a few there, and I've also took some currants and currant cuttings and things like that, a few grapes as well down here. These are some ones from last year. This is a currant, or year before, currant cuttings that I took. So propagation is very much a thing that I recommend people get involved in, because it's not that difficult in terms of currants, gooseberries and grapes. I've got videos on those subjects, and you know, there's so much information out there for taking cuttings, and you know, it's all about propagation, carrying on varieties, and of course gardening on a budget, which is a very relevant thing. Now, this is intriguing. Somehow I've ended up with some raspberry canes growing up in this pot down here. Now, I don't know how it happened. One must have got in somehow, and then it's propagated, but I'm not complaining. So I'm probably going to take some of those and set them somewhere. So, the blueberries, yes, there's a bit of a story behind these, which many of you will have seen, but I'm quite, you know, intrigued by the story, and I'm glad it happened now, actually, because I've got some lovely blueberry bushes. So the you know, the soft fruit bed here with the gooseberries and berries and red currants and black currants, absolutely lovely, and with blueberries behind. I mean, look at this red currant here. Look, it's really starting to, the buds are really starting to come now. But so there we go. Look at all those varieties of gooseberry there, blueberries there. Check out the video I put up about 3 or 4 weeks ago. You can see the story behind them, and some more blueberries in case you want to see a few more. So you may remember a video I put up a while ago, well a few years ago now probably, about how to grow hydrangeas in pots, and this is doing really well here. It's looking really nice. There's a Copperberg top there. That must have been from when I had one of my sessions out in the garden, you know, with the old cider and that, you know, a few years, whenever it was. Yes, but so what we got here, look, so it's really nice, this hydrangea, really healthy looking, and it should, I think it's a red one, it should produce some lovely you know, blooms this year. It's established well, and how to grow hydrangeas in pots, you know, check that video out because it works well. Now it's very much spring-like. You can see how light it is, but this is the main vegetable bed, which I you know, really like here because it's very productive. Actually, it's not a massive bed. It's about oh, I don't know, 4 meters long and about 3 meters, 2.5 meters wide, something like that. But it produces well. You can see the lovely broad beans there, Aqua Dulce Claudia, and they're doing very well. I got some leeks that I grew here as well. Of course, most of the things from this bed have been eaten, but you can see here, look, got some little bit of kale coming, but they're well past their best. With regards to this beetroot here, what it's done is, this is from ones I planted myself, variety Boltardy, but what they've done is they've seeded, and the beetroots proceeded to grow, and there we go. But what else have we got here? We've got some lovely spinach here, look, very nice indeed. So quite happy with you know, that, and what that'll do, that'll grow a little bit, but then it'll go into it'll go to seed. But you've seen the other ones I've got ready to go in here, spinach, chard, and some kale as well, and hopefully some komatsuna, which is a great vegetable as well. So all ready. And over here we have got the Clematis at the back. Now I love Clematis because you know, one thinks of purple Clematis, Montana Rubens, yes. Just quickly read that down there. But really nice, and I like to have a Clematis, something that blooms, you know, just to attract bees and things like that, and the beauty as well. Very nice, very nice. So one of my own grafted trees, so I grafted this myself a few years ago. You can see all that, my finger is here, look, there, whoops, there, look. That's all last year's growth, so it's done very well. Now, if you're going to graft, the time of year is coming up for this sort of thing, but make sure you make a note of it somewhere of what you grafted, because on this one I didn't, or at the time I remember, but now I forgot. So I'd like to know what variety it is, and I may, or someone else may be able to identify it when the fruit eventually comes. But you know, make a note, because it's nice to know what you're growing and propagating. But the graft is try to find the graft for you. It's right down here, and when I graft, I do a form of cleft graft. But this tree's really done well, and I think it's going to be quite vigorous. So I'm going to be growing it as a cordon up against this fence here. So I like to show the oak tree in the distance as you know, the seasons change, so that people can see, you know, the change in this tree. Lovely blue sky, isn't it? So I mean, I could go on ages talking about you know, things I've got going on here and things I want to do. But so with regards to the direction I'm going, a few ideas have come, well, they've been in my mind for a while now, but watermelon project definitely this year. I'm going to be running a chili project as well, a bit of grafting, going to be growing the normal vegetables and that sort of thing. Now I'm going to be getting, I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I'm going to be getting another mango tree, but I'm going to be growing that under lights and things, but I'm just resisting the urge to go out and start buying stuff too much, because, you know, gardeners can let their eyes get bigger than their belly, particularly at this time of year. So I'm really going to just be thinking and planning of things I'm going to be getting. But there's going to be a lot happening on this channel, all being well, as this season progresses, and I've stated before that I want this year to be the most productive yet I've had at this project site. So yeah, very, very good. So I hope everybody out there is doing well. If you feel like it, you can like, share and subscribe. That would be lovely. And you can check me out on Dan_Home_Gardens Instagram if you are indeed interested. Comments, questions or whatever's down below, please let me know. Speak next time. All the best.